We are talking Carolina Panthers training camp. I don't know how many days now. How many days were today's Wednesday?
Weekend,
6 days,
yeah,
well over
yeah.
a week. So Danielle Stein actually on the phone with us this morning from B of A. Danielle, how's it going?
It's going well. I believe it's day 7 is the
Day
lucky number
7.
today, but we are feeling good. It is actually, though, day 2 if you're using the metrics of days where they're in pads. So still kind of new in that regard because it's starting to feel a little bit more like real football out there.
Yeah, how are they looking past couple of days?
Yeah, things have been good. So they were in pads on Monday for the first time. Then they went back to wearing no pads yesterday. And then here they are again. They can only have a certain number of days where they're allowed to actually train wearing pads. So they do it kind of strategically, space them out a little bit, work on some things in between. So these days are the ones where we can expect the practices to be a good bit longer and definitely a lot more physical. We saw the last time that they were out there in pads, it ended up resulting in a little bit of a scuffle. Chuba Hubbard and Trevin Wallace getting into it at the end of that day. So I think the team, though, likes that. Of course, they like that neither of them got hurt to any large degree, but they like the physicality that comes on days like this where it feels like it's really starting to emulate a real football game.
Yeah, certainly making an impression, and the energy's got to be welcome. You know, people get fired up. Anyone making a strong impression for you?
So I think today the thing that I wanted to make note is there's a couple guys who are actually not dressed for today, which I wouldn't say is too big of an alarm, but it is some people who we have been watching closely. One of them being Hunter Renfrow. It looks like he has a vet day, so he's out there right now, but he's wearing street clothes. He has, a t-shirt, a baseball cap on. He's one of 3 that I've made note of so far, as well as cornerback Mike Jackson and also Pat Jones the second. He just came over from free agency from the Vikings. All of them seem to be on vet days. Renfro's case is, of course, one that we're all watching really closely as that wide receiver room is starting to come together. It's that question is if we think Renfro is going to be maybe that last one to get into that wide receiver group in the end, because we know the competition is pretty tight there. So, of course, we want to see as many looks of him as we can right now, but it's good to also give sort of days off for some of these vet players like him.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Sturtevant's joining us here in the Live Impact studio, Danielle, because he's our number one Panthers fan in the newsroom. Talking about the wide receiver room,
Yeah.
Nick.
So I have a question, Danielle. You've been doing great work out there at training camp, you and Carboni, one. But 2, it's been a while since we've had big personalities on the team, and I feel like this year we have those personalities in Princely and Trevin Wallace, also Xavier Legette. How's it for you been covering those big personalities on the team?
I think it's awesome. And it's so true. I do think it kind of is more of of course, there's always in sports been personalities, but part of me thinks that just the era of social media and just some of the younger generations, as I sound old saying that, but people maybe even closer to my age bracket, you grow up around these social media lifestyles, and then you start to develop more of that personality yourselves. Like talking to Princely yesterday, he has such a personality, and he's the same as he is online too. So I think that kind of endears yourself to fans in a way too, because you're more accessible and relatable too. Like he was saying, he doesn't want to be that guy who's just a public figure. He wants to be able to interact with fans if he wants. A fan, even after that first day of training camp when Princely had that strip sack on Bryce, said, "Keep your dirty hands off of my quarterback." And he responded with a salute emoji just, to break the ice and be funny about it. But that kind of barrier breaking, I think is pretty cool to see in this kind of era where we are right now in sports.
Speaking of Bryce, he's probably appears to be one of the quietest guys out there on the team and the biggest star on the team. How's he looking? I've been going through X and Instagram, and there's been a lot being made about his connection with T-Mac. But how is Bryce looking out there on the field?
He looks good. I feel like, of course, this is my first season covering the team, so my impressions are based off of this, just being general NFL watching Bryce Young as well too, but he definitely just seems so confident where he is right now. He seems to interact with all the other guys that he comes across. I just saw him doing a handshake he had with T-Mac. He seems to have good rapport with so many different guys out there, and he's definitely just more of that leader. He seems to laugh. He seems to be a little bit more vocal in terms of like the fun aspect as well too. So it is good that we're starting to see some personality out of him. I mean, that position group around him with the wide receivers between Leggett, T-Mac, Jimmy Horn, like those are guys who, like you were talking about, they have big personalities too, and they're funny. And I hope at least that Bryce is kind of feeding off of that the more he becomes more comfortable as well. But no, Bryce is definitely just still endearing himself to the fans. I just saw some sweet photos of him walking his mom down the aisle. His parents had a vow renewal a couple weeks ago, and there were some nice photos coming out of that. People love to see Bryce in life outside of football too. But then when they see it translate onto the field where he's starting to show that personality a little bit more too, I think that's looking pretty good too.
You got to put some respect on my quarterback's name out there. Everybody out there, because you're talking about Heisman Trophy winning, quarterback from Alabama. He was the guy in high school. I think people forget about that, Danielle. Like Bryce is that guy.
Right, and he definitely started to prove that again towards the end of last season. And it's true. Maybe some people. You forget that once you maybe have a couple bad games, you forget about some of your previous accolades. But in the end, he's still someone who, at his time, was the best in the country. And I don't think the talent level has slipped by any means. Of course, just being in the NFL compared to college is a different game. But his motivation out there right now looks really good. And it looks like he's got, again, that relationship with Dalton looks fantastic as well. And he's just coming in with more and more confidence. And I think that might have been the piece that's been lacking in his game ever since he's been in the NFL is, of course, the skills might be there, but the confidence may have been still developing. So as he's going into another season, I think we can expect that trajectory to go even higher up.
Danielle, what's the itinerary look like today? And we know they're back in the pads, but more of the same.
Yep, more of the same. We can expect a longer day out there on the field. Unfortunately for me, my little neck fan that I have just died, so I'm going to find as much shade and water and sunscreen as I can because long practice means I will be sweating out here. But no, we can expect to see a little bit more of some actual action, 11-11s, hopefully. And I think soon coming up, we'll be seeing a little bit more of those individuals, which obviously we love getting those videos out to you on social, seeing some of those receivers going up against the defenders, things like that. Those little individual position battles always look really good. Hopefully we'll see some of that, positive tension that we saw on Monday as well. Maybe not exactly a fight, but you want to see these guys starting to really get into that football mindset. The guys do have a day off tomorrow. And I do know that Bryce Young will be taking part of a really cool event where he's going to be speaking to some local teens about mental health awareness, something that he's really passionate about, and comes from a family where his dad's a psychologist and his mom is a teacher. So the guys have the day off tomorrow, which will be great, and Bryce sounds like he'll be spending it doing some really good things in the community.
All right, good deal.
We gotta get her a neck fan.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's my first thing. I was like, can we get Danielle a neck fan? Like, I'll bring it to her. My girl needs some air.
Oh,
yeah,
it
I forgot to charge it last night, and it's a struggle, but we find our shade when we can. I've got my little Stanley cup with like 40 ounces of water, so we're staying hydrated, and they take good care of us out here. So, but it's definitely a scorcher.
It's at least a little bit cooler today.
Yeah.
Getting some really
a little bit. It doesn't feel it.
It doesn't matter, does it? I know. Easy for us to say. I'm cold in this studio.
We're freezing in a studio right
now.
now.
I've got my blanket. That's how cold it is. I know.
Let's trade.
Yeah, maybe for a moment before I thought out. Danielle Stein, thank you for joining us this morning. Enjoy today. Stay safe. Seek the shade. We'll talk to you soon here on WCNC Charlotte.